What's up, guys? Welcome to Camel's Creations. Don't mind the messy hairdo. I just got a new lip kit in for the Genesis G70. Gonna install that today. At least start on it, open it up. I had a lip I got for free from eBay for a trial, and it flew off on the highway. So I got with Boosted Whips, and I ordered a Volance Type G Aero kit straight from Korea. Somebody open that up and gonna check it out. Should be a full kit: front splitter, side skirts, diffuser, all that jazz. So we're gonna put it on, see how it looks. Let's get this box open and check out the contents. All right, everything's pretty beautifully wrapped. We got a box here with some pretty stickers and installation hardware and a air freshener. That's gonna be our front lip up front, our side skirts, and I believe this is gonna be our rear diffuser here. It's a 3-piece rear diffuser with the side spats in the center fins, and some empty boxes to keep everything centered and protected. So great wrapping on this. I'm gonna cut the butter wrap open and see what all we have and see what kind of finish we got on it. All right, guys. Well, here's everything. Looks a little more complicated than I thought, but official, designed by that name I can't pronounce. We got our side skirts here. We got 1-piece front lip, which I'm a little confused with what all this is. I guess spacers or something. I am not quite sure. Diffuser is in a 3-piece set. I wish it was 1-piece, but maybe it's 3-piece for shipping or installation. We got 1,000 screws. No instructions, by the way, but that's why you have me. So I'll do the pain of figuring it out. Nothing's really labeled for anything. This little pack of screws was stuck onto the side skirts. I'm assuming that goes to the side skirts. More pretty stickers. We got some, I believe this is like an alcohol wipe along with some super glue, because I guess you are going to have to glue here. I mean, there's a bolt hole that lines up with it, but I guess you glue them at one point. I don't know if I should glue them before I put it on or what, but I'll see when I get there. And also you have these shark fins that can go on the front, which I'm not going to use, but I've seen pictures of them basically on the front like that, if you want to have that rear fin and then the front fin, and I guess you just glue those on, but I'm not going to use these. So, and I'm also going to paint this. I'm going to spray paint this a gloss black. And I know spray paint sucks, but I spent all my money on the kit, so I can't really afford to take it somewhere to get it painted. And I don't want the matte. The Carson spoiler I have is gloss black. All of my other things are gloss black. So I'm gonna try spray paint. If it don't work, I'll take it somewhere. Got some 3M tape here. I guess these just stick onto the factory diffuser fins that are on the car. Yeah, lots of stuff and a lot of holes, a lot of screws. So if you don't want to drill into your car, then don't do it. Or if you're too confused about it, then I would watch my video twice and then do it. Or go to a body shop. All right, let me set this paint up and see how it looks when I paint it. If I don't like it, I'll just send it somewhere. Got my paint booth set up. Yeah. So we're going to see how this works. Lots of things. All right, guys, we'll knock this out and see y'all next step. All right, guys, time for the spray paint. Got some nice, some nice high gloss paint cover here. I got these handles from Amazon too. I put that in the description, but it's 2 in a pack, and they allow, of course, comfort. Your finger don't get cramped, your wrist doesn't hurt, and you can do a nice, sweeping motion while you're spray painting. To be a good spray painter, I'm not one, so I don't know, but I know you want to at least follow the rules. If it says 10 to 15 inches away, then do that. If it has a temperature, then do that. Humidity, do that. I checked the humidity today.
That's why I waited till this evening to do it. It was a little damp this morning. Temperature was good. And make sure you shake the can like it says, and shake it, in between sprays. And like I said, do the distance. That's real important. And also, when you squeeze away, and then come over with your painting and go back and forth. You don't want to start to apply or stop squeezing while you're pointing at the surface. That's how you get splatters and runs and whatnot. And you do a couple of thin coats first. You're not going to get the whole thing covered. As you see here, I got like one coat done. So it's real light. You're not going to get all the spots covered in one go. So take your time with it, and should work out.
All right, guys, it got dark on me, but I got them painted. It's actually a nice gloss black. It looked pretty good, to be honest. See here, a nice, beautiful shine. So I got a couple pieces that have a little bit of run on them. It's about to get dark again. I don't know why I do stuff at night. I don't even know if you can see any. You can kind of see it. So literally, on these three pieces, really just these two got some run. It's a spot here where it was on my paint stand. It kind of, the paint stuck to it. So I'm gonna give them a little bit of wet sand. Start off with a little 1,000 grit, and go to 2,000 grit wet sand just to kind of get that run off and give it a quick little respray. And then I'm gonna hit it with this 2K clear. So I never used this before, so we're gonna use this together. But basically it's supposed to be professional grade clear coat spray paint that has a hardener built in. They say it's pretty equivalent to almost a shop's clear coat. So how this works, you're supposed to shake it up for 2 minutes, make sure the ball is moving. You take out this little plunger here, and that goes down here. And so you stick this on the bottom after you shake it, take that on the plunger with the cap on, you press it hard and you hear a click. That's going to open up the hardener in the inside of that can. It's going to mix. You shake it up for another 2 minutes. That's going to mix, and then you spray it on your product. I believe you have 48 hours to use this. Yeah, you got 48 hours to use this after you mix that hardener, or it will start to solidify. So make sure you have everything ready that you want to paint. So I'm gonna do that, get my wet sanding on, and like I said, give a little black dust back on where I sanded a little bit, smooth it back out, clear coat it, and we should be ready for installation after that. So stay tuned, you guys, check it out. All right, 2K clear coat is done. It came out decent, to be honest. My main objective was to get this shiny because the material is some type of plastic, but it's almost like wood. Like it feels porous and whatnot. And this front edge where it was cut was, I mean, you can see here, it's still a little rough. It's woody or porous or whatever. But overall it came out good. Somehow, it was late at night, and I don't know if I just missed the last coat on this one, but that one didn't come out well, and that one and the rest did. Like you can see reflection, and you see that. So I might re-clear coat that one. I'm gonna hit everything with a little buff real quick. I got a little torch buffer and some chemical guys, VSS, whatnot. So
I'm gonna buff everything anyway a little bit because I did it late at night like an idiot. So I got some spots from like dew and little insects walking and stuff. So I'm gonna give it a little buff, shine up a little bit more, and I'm gonna do that one. See if it gets any better. But I might have to re-clear coat that one. But yeah, I'll do that real quick and then we'll install it on the car. So they came out pretty good. Good enough for now for spray paint and whatever stuff I had to do to it. But now for a moment, y'all been waiting for it. Installation. Sorry it took so long. If you watched this far, thank you. Hopefully you skipped ahead if you needed to. I just show all the steps to what I do because this is complete DIY and I just do all this. So just in case someone wants to do the same thing, I like to show it. But in the meantime, while that was curing and drying, I went ahead and added a spoiler. And I tinted my tail lights and I had extra tint. So I tinted the reflectors, very light tint. I have a different video on that I'll post and show. And also while I was bored, I went and ordered some exhaust tips. I didn't put them on yet. They're gonna be here tomorrow. So I'm gonna go get the camera set up. We're gonna start off with the rear first, which should be the easiest. I'm gonna get the camera set up and see what screws I need. It's a lot of screws. And I'm gonna go ahead and take off these fake chrome tip things and unplug the exhaust valves while I'm under there because I'm getting new chrome tips and everything's blacked out kind of back here. So the chrome tips would be enough chrome, and like I said, remove those exhaust valves just to get a little more sound. All right, so I'm gonna get set up and see what we need. All right, guys, we're finally ready for install. So I'm gonna set the camera up. I'm just gonna kind of talk you through it first. So your stock diffuser will have these fins here. So I got some alcohol here. I'm gonna clean all this. It has some primer cleaner pad, but I haven't washed the car, so I'm gonna clean this whole painted surface first, and then you're gonna get your pad here and go over the fins. So there's 3M tape on each one of these fins. Hope I can pull the paper off because I painted it. So hope I can pull the paper off. But you're gonna clean the fins with that stuff. You're gonna stick this centerpiece on first, so the 3M tape hold it, and then you're gonna work on your sides. And it comes with this glue here. It's adhesive. That's gonna go on here. So basically this lines up pretty perfectly with that. So once I get my center on, I'm gonna line up the side spats with that and then put a couple holes in, or a couple screws in. I got these clamps here to kind of hold the ends together once I glue it. If you're another person, it may be easier to hold it, but I don't. So I'm gonna use that. Now, as far as the screws, it's like a lot of screws and they're not greatly labeled, but I'm looking online and looking at Boosted Whip's video, talking to him. We're gonna use the ones that have an R and a D. So I'm assuming D may stand for diffuser and that may stand for rear spats, but there are 2 length screws in here. You got, I believe, 12 short ones and some amount of long ones. So long ones are for sure gonna go on each one of these holes with the fins. And it's also gonna go on this corner hole here, which is gonna line up with that hole because it's kind of thicker there. And then you should have, I think, 7 remaining, or 6 remaining. No, you have 6 remaining. No, 7. 7 remaining, but we're gonna put 2 long ones here also. When I say long, I'm talking about these long ones, not these long ones. The real long ones are gonna go on the 4 fins. These next set of long ones in the bag with the R are gonna go in these 2 holes because it's gonna kind of be sticking down a little bit because it's gonna overlap the center diffuser. And the rest of your short ones in the bag label R are gonna go around here. So yeah, I'm gonna position the camera. Hopefully you can kind of see what I'm doing and makes a little sense to you. But clean it, prime it, center, 3M tape up, align the side, 1 screw or 2 screws, glue rest of the screws. And then these edges here kind of go perfectly with the bottom of the car. They kind of go with that because you're going to need to keep those, screws exposed for bumper removal or whatever. So or not bumper, but at least the rear mud flap. So those cutouts go along that. So, and this rear spat's gonna kind of line up with the edge of that bumper. So once you're under there, it'll make more sense. It'll line up. I know it's 3-piece and it seems like it's weird, but as long as you align that portion up and that front portion up, push your screw in, glue that, and the rest of the screws, you're good. So I'm gonna get a good camera angle and I'm gonna get started. All right, so center part is on. It looks pretty nifty. So we're gonna start on this side. Like I said, I got my screws set out, so it's the bag that has an R on it. You're gonna have a few longer screws. If you can see there, they're only slightly longer. So I'm gonna put the 2 longer screws here and here, and the rest will go along the side, and we'll line up this bottom side. Let's see if I can show you. So this will line up around those pins there. And they'll kind of go with the edge of that, like that almost. Look from the outside. Maybe I'll mesh it up with the mud flap. I'm assuming cars don't have mud flaps, so they can probably go further and line up better, but we'll see. But I do want to line up the edge of this with that. This is gonna have to mate up to there. Oh yeah, I see the problem. Huh. It's not really meant for mud flaps. So let me take this out and figure this out with the mud flaps. If you have mud flaps, without it, it should be no problem. But I'm gonna look at that and see. Alright guys, so we ran into a problem. So I have mud flaps. So I'm probably gonna cut these, and I wish I would have known that before, because I would have painted the back side where I'm gonna cut, but it's okay. So you want to start off, go ahead and line up. See, it's almost like a puzzle piece. Line that up, and I'm gonna get a marker and just mark here where the mud flap ends. Y'all can see that mark where the mud flap ends. I'm gonna get my saw out and cut it, and then hopefully it should line up perfectly. So I will have -1 hole. Actually, it looks like I may just put a screw. I feel like I'm gonna lose that hole, but I may just put a screw in there anyway, so it'll be flush. I'm gonna grab my marker and get the marking. Oh. All right, so that's that. I'm gonna let that dry, and then we're gonna do the other side. But you see how same size duplicate, because I had to cut it because of my mud flaps, but lined up good enough for me. So maybe the next one I'll notch out a little bit to kind of make it look a little cleaner, but good enough for me. I'll do the other side and we'll head to the side skirts. All right guys, so for the side skirts, you're gonna need some support. I got some jack stands here. I just took the head off of them, like that one over there, and some boxes and that. Basically, we're gonna want to line up the indentions. They are some squares here. Get up on here, so you can see it here. you basically want to make sure it's against that lip and that square fits in here, which this is a little too far over, but there we go. So I was gonna have Jack saying to wedge it in there, but I got the same problem as the rear spats. Is I guess this kit was designed for cars without mud flaps, and I got mud flaps. So over here in the front, it's hitting the mud flap. It would be perfect without the mud flap, because as you can see, it would end right with that stock side skirt, but don't work out. So I don't know if you can tell, I've already kind of marked it up. I'm gonna go ahead and trim this off. And there's also the clip right there for the mud flap. So I'm gonna trim around that too and make this cut basically even with my finger right there, make it big enough to go around that mud flap, so I don't wanna, you know, have it uneven or can't remove something because of the side skirt. And I'm also gonna try to cut it at an angle. I want it to be kind of flush with that mud flap there. So I marked it kind of at an angle. I'm gonna notch it out. The top, I kind of marked too, following that to try to get, sorry for the light frequency, to get that. I'll show you on the other side what I did. So it's not perfect, but I kind of got it notched out a little bit close to that mud flap. So you see I got that cut there. Try to follow the line of that mud flap. So it's gonna say it took me about 2 cuts on that. I cut it and I brought it back and I had to trim it and kind of grind it down. So you're never gonna get it perfect that first time. But if you got mud flaps, I would advise try to make it look nice and cute and make it look flush and not just chop it off. I mean, even at the rear, if you can tell here, it's cut to go with that plastic. Like they already etched it to go with the trimming. It's a real good fitting kit. So if you're gonna cut it, try to make it look nice and just as fitting as the rest. So I'm gonna take this off, notch it out, and then like I said, all you're gonna do is follow those two, that square and that square where the jack points are. I believe if you don't have mud flaps, the big hole at the end of that side skirt actually lines up with that mud flap hole. You can use that as alignment. Let me get this off and trim it, and then we'll work on screwing in. They're all the same size bolts. It's gonna be the bag labeled S. I have it somewhere, but it has an S on it, and they're all the same size screws, and it's enough of them. I think you actually have extra screws in each pouch. So let me trim this off and then we'll get her up. All right, side skirts on. I think I did a pretty good job. I did this in one cut. I think I did a pretty good job on that. Trying to get it a little flush. Yeah, it's pretty easy to line up. It's a real good fitment, not gonna lie. All the way to the edge. Also, I forgot to show y'all these. So these little, I guess, fins is what would go here. So you can actually see the color. I'm glad I painted it gloss black. I would recommend if you're trying to do black and match the black trimming to get it painted. I mean, I guess it'll work out, but I believe these go here. Don't know which way they go. Maybe this way. I don't know. I also cut some of this, so maybe it's kind of off, but it's supposed to kind of go with that rear fin. And have a front one, but I don't want it. I don't like it, so I didn't do it. But yeah, that's the kit. Got everything on. It's hard to see in the garage. I'm gonna pull it out tomorrow. It's dark now. It's like midnight. Pull it out tomorrow. Give you guys a good look. Hopefully tomorrow I have my exhaust tips in also. I took the chrome out of here so I can put some exhaust tips in there. So yeah. Tomorrow I'll give y'all a full view. And thanks for watching Camera Creations. Until I get this puppy outside, I'll see you later. Alright guys, now we're up to the front. We're using a bag of screws that have an F on it. And I only have 3 sets of screws. I went ahead and separated them. And we're gonna use those in 3 different areas on this front lip. Really, I'm just gonna show y'all the line up process. Aligning it is kind of difficult. You need jack stands or blocks or something to hold it up. I'm gonna take each one of these screws to the other side. There's a little bit more room for me to show you all how that goes. All right, so lining up wise, like I said, you're gonna need something to prop it up or a couple hands or something, because trying to screw hole in the line is not gonna work. You wanna go ahead and line it up how you want, and then you can start screwing in. So I guess a couple alignment points is one on each side. You're gonna get this flush with the end of your bumper here. That's gonna be flush. Now toward the center, if you notice, it curves up. The lip curves just like the bumper does. So if you can see here, you want to get that curvature to be perfect. So you don't have to move it around, slide it till that's perfect. It's really this corner right here. It kind of, like literally right here is where it starts to drop down. So if you can get that line up along with your edges, that's why it's best to have it propped up with some pressure. So as you kind of knock it and move it, it's moving in place and it stays there. And then as far as your whole front lip, you don't want to behind this body line or this chin here. You'll see where it kind of goes down. So you'll get that look there. But if you line up the edges and this curvature here, you'll do pretty good usually. So there's an array of holes. So with the screws, these are 3 screws there in the bag. You're gonna use this really long screw along the middle here on most of these holes, because this screw goes through this entire wall here. So the long one's gonna go through all those in the middle. And then once you transition to again thinner, which I'm gonna start putting my shorter screws, so it gets thinner at that curve, which the next hole is here. So this will be my first short screw. So I'll use this shorter screw and I'll start here. And that'd be that screw. And I can take that all the way around throughout each hole. I'll use this screw. And the only time I use these bigger screws is going to be on these stands, which are going to be these back holes like here. So you got front holes and back holes. So if you look, let me put this down. If you look, those are what I'm talking about. So those are taller, thicker pieces, and they're along the back of the entire lip, if you can see it. So all of these holes toward the back, it should be about 4 or 5 or 6 of them, something like that. I'm going to use these screws. So once again, just to go over again, long screws in the front middle. It starts to step down and that curvature comes to the bumper. This shorter screw and this bigger rounded screw we're going to use on the back holes of the stands. I'll count on that, get that, but I believe it's 4 to 6 of them. And I have 6 screws. I have 6 of these in the front bag, so that should line up perfectly. Like I said, really alignment is the toughest part. You get it down to that edge, put some pressure on it, put some under it, and just make it stay, and then should be good. And just screw her in and make sure it's centered. Walk around both sides. Make sure your fins are centered, equal space on both sides. I'm gonna start off with one in each corner. That way I can make sure the whole thing looks decent before I just start going around. I can take it back out if I need to readjust. All right, let me set the camera up. I find it's pretty lined up. Got equal lip. I only put a couple screws in, and this, as long as you don't see light between it, like it's following that perfectly. So I screw that in. That should be good. Edges are lined up. I got less than a finger width on both sides of the fins, and both of them are ending about on that edge. So I got enough screws on both sides. Take both sides of jack stands out, but not the middle. So I'm gonna go ahead and just do the rest of the screws, and that'll be it. I don't want to record all that, but remember, like I said, the long ones go in the middle. Once you step down here, use the shorter ones, and those back ones with the stands in the back are gonna use those thicker rounded Phillips. So once I get all this on, we'll move on to the next side. All right, guys, I got it cleaned up. You can finally see the full kit I have on here. Turned out pretty good. Got from Frank boosted whips, front lip, side skirts. I love this spoiler. I like the Adro kit better, but for that cost, I just can't right now. Got the Amazon exhaust tips on there. Got them sticking out. Got them staggered. This paint on this spoiler is great. I don't know if you can tell in the camera. It's not enough sun hitting it, but it's real nice. But yeah, hopefully you guys watched the install and liked it. Had to show off the red interior with it. Hit me up if you're local and want it installed. I got you.